Tonight, TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms. You've heard the rumors, now learn the real stories of outrageous behavior and behind-the-scenes battles on Roseanne.
The only reason that show was popular is because I was fat.
I'm a TV star. She goes, I can have anything I want.
Being on a hit show doesn't come without a price.
They said, do you want to hear the tapes? I said, tapes of what? And they said, they love making.
I'd see every once in a while, they come storming by.
Well, she said it was the violence that made it go bad.
I thought Goodman was gonna kill him.
Be the biggest bitch you can possibly be. As loud and mean and crude and rude as you can possibly find it in your gut to be.
You'll learn the shocking truth behind the rumors on Facts of Life.
They were called the fats of life.
Somebody yelled out, Blair, you're getting fat. What can I do? Should I just lop off my breasts?
I ain't crazy, I'm hungry, and I eat.
I think there was too much pressure put on them.
Everybody wants more money.
I first heard that one of us were losing our virginity, and I just screamed I was so grateful.
I think she's a drama queen.
I volunteered.
And you'll find out what really happened behind the scenes at Welcome Back, Kotter.
It's supposed to be the Gabe Kaplan vehicle, I guess, and so forth. And Travolta started to stick out a little more.
To actually take a whole show and be the star of it, I think number one would be maybe too much exposure on television.
John would be running around the set with a banana hanging out of his pants.
Us being banned in Boston was ridiculous.
I had 3 women that stalked me for over 15 years.
That sounds like a Coke joke because it isn't funny straight.
You know, Gabe wants you off the show. I go, what?
All on TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms. Welcome Back, Kotter told the story of 4 academically impaired students in a Brooklyn high school and was based on comedian Gabe Kaplan's own experiences. By 1974, Kaplan had turned his years as an underachiever into a successful nightclub act.
I had been talking about the guys I went to school with on all the talk shows, the Carson Show and the Griffin Show and the Mike Douglas Show. And they were tired of me talking about the guys I went to school with. They said, hey, you know, it's funny, but, you know, get on to something else.
Alan Sachs, producer of TV's Chico and the Man, also grew up in a tough Brooklyn neighborhood.
We combined aspects of the characters that I had been talking about and aspects of characters he knew.
Joey Colucci was my very close friend and a very tough, wise guy kid, very good-looking kid. And he was the character I really modeled, you know, Barbarino after. The first guy that Sammy the Bull whacked was Joey Colucci.
The network made us, you know, tone it down a lot.
Casting for the toned-down show began immediately.
My agent called me up and said, do you want to try out for the show called Kotter? They're looking for 4 tough kids from New York. And I looked in the mirror and I was 118 pounds and all nose. And I said, why?
We auditioned quite a lot. I don't know how many times we came in, but it was a lot of times.
But for one role, there was never any doubt.
Barbarini, Eddie Barbarini. This is my place, and these are my people.
It was called Eddie Barbarina. And we changed it. It just sounded much better and flowed much better as Vinny Barbarino.
Barbarino. Vinny Barbarino. This is my place, and these are my people.
He had this, you know, energy, you know, that radiated. There was an aura. We, you know, said, this is the guy.
We got Washington, we got Horshack, and we got Epstein.
What did they do?
They all work for me.
Before the show went on the air, we would bring out the cast and introduce them to the studio audience. This is John Travolta playing, you know, Vinny Barbarino. The audience went crazy. I mean, he had not even performed yet. They didn't know who he was, and they were going wild. So we looked at each other like, whoa, this guy is something.
And the rest is television history.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
Welcome Back, Kotter debuted in September of 1975 to good reviews and strong ratings. But not every ABC affiliate was pleased with the show.
Us being banned in Boston was ridiculous. It was a real overreaction on the part of the network affiliate.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
There was a guy whose name was Thomas T. Twaddle. I'm not making it up. It's the dude's real name. And he just had a little mini series of articles saying how Welcome Back, Kotter is promoting juvenile delinquency, and those guys are incorrigibles, and it's going to put the wrong influence to the complexion of how the country is dealing with the busing situation in Boston.
Lady Chatterley's Lover and Welcome Back, Kotter were both banned in Boston. I just love that.
The band didn't last long, however. After just 3 weeks on the air, Cotter was in the top 10. Faced with the show's overwhelming popularity, the Boston affiliate had a change of heart. Cotter mania had hit the country.
We went to the farmer's market. John and I, who are pigs, we always want to eat, that's us. And all of a sudden, it's like on cue. The place, it's like somebody said, that's them. The whole place just converged on us and was pulling on the clothes and, you know, and this is 10 o'clock in the morning. But the show was on maybe 4 or 5 weeks then, so we had no idea of the reaction of it.
The company had hired a helicopter to fly the 4 of us to LAX so that we could catch our flights to New York. And Bobby Hedges sitting next to me going, Ron, we're the freaking Beatles, Ron. We're the Beatles. And I'm going, Bobby, we're not even the freaking Monkees.
You know, I was in my young 20s at the time, man, and I don't even hide this at all, man. I dated half of LA. You know, every girl that looked like she thought she was available, I was hanging.
From the very beginning, it was obvious one sweat hog would make it to the head of the class. After just 1 season on the show, 22-year-old John Travolta emerged as TV's newest heartthrob. Later that year, he signed a 3-picture deal for $1 million. His first film was Saturday Night Fever. The movie was a blockbuster, and Travolta was anointed America's newest sex symbol.
We did Welcome Back, Kotter, and it was supposed to be the Gabe Kaplan vehicle, I guess, or so forth, and Travolta started to stick out a little bit more.
To actually take a whole show and be the star of it, I think number one would be maybe too much exposure on television.
Nobody resented his success because he was still John.
This guy's got absolute likability. You want to sort of take care of him.
With that hair and those blue eyes, and, you know, he was a dancer, he had a great body. I mean, it was just like, I want him.
You've become a sex symbol on this show, haven't you?
Yeah.
John bought publicity. John used to tap me for money because he had put all of his money into publicity. Who was the smart one?
But not everyone in the cast sought out the spotlight.
I had 3 women that stalked me for over 15 years. And they gotten violent a couple times, you know. I got one girl struck me with a bag that felt like she had a brick in it, you know, and another one drove her car through my garage door. I got very paranoid and stayed in the house all the time. I truly didn't leave home unless it was to go to work or go to the studio.
When we come back, illegal after-school activities on the set of Welcome Back, Kotter.
We go, this is a 4-gram joke.
Pressure mounts for the cast of Facts of Life.
They were called the Fats of Life.
And learn the secret behind Roseanne's success.
To be the biggest bitch you can possibly be. As loud and mean and crude and rude as you can possibly find it in your gut to be.
All when TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcom, returns.
Mom, it's ready.
On May 19th, college is out, but their education is just beginning. Auto Shop.
It's just the wheels.
Anatomy.
I've had sex before, just never with a person.
Zoology. Psychology.
Are there any guys out there who are just normal?
Chemistry.
Touch my chest. Don't touch her. It's a good idea. I like him.
Road Trip.
Awesome.
Rated R. Starts Friday, May 19th.
Glitter odor on Oak Street.
It's Arm & Hammer Super Cat to the rescue with 2 super baking soda litters that eliminate odors on contact. One you scoop, one you don't. New Super Stop, the only clay litter with the odor eliminating power of Arm & Hammer baking soda. Destroys litter odor on contact. Rated higher for odor control than the leading litter. And Super Scoop, it's the scooping litter that locks in odors and clumps hard. Arm & Hammer, clump or clay.
Super's odor away.
Tomorrow on Fox, we've shown you incredible chases, but you won't believe what happens when a teenage girl hijacks a police cruiser. Police videos. Then, 3 teams will reach $1 million. Will they make it to the $4 million jackpot?
I want this money so bad.
New Super Green. It all starts at 8, 7 Central tomorrow on Fox.
Monday on Fox, a showdown's a-coming between the good.
You better watch your back.
The bad.
You should stop spending so much time on yours.
And the half-wit.
An all-new That 70s Show.
Then, some people call her a psycho. Christopher Titus just calls her mom.
Get down. The aliens can see you.
Meet the woman who put the fun in dysfunctional on an all-new Titus. It all starts at 8, 7 Central, Fox Monday. Ally McBeal is having an online affair.
Computer sex.
Wait till she finds out who it's with.
Christopher.
Mom?
Mom?
Can you say busted?
Oh my God, I had computer sex with a 16-year-old.
Was it a big computer or a little Palm Pilot?
An all-new Ally McBeal at 9, 8 Central, Fox Monday.
Gabe and his sweat hogs were now stars, and Travolta, Jacobs, Polillo, and Hedges began to have fun, as you can see in this outtake from the show.
Okay, Bambi has told us about her typical California day. She rolls out of a waterbed, it's always warm, she puts on her bikini, she grabs some nuts, and she goes swimming.
John would be running around the set with a banana hanging out of his pants, going,
Travolta was he was the silliest guy I think I've ever been around in my life.
We got onto the airplane and we were the only ones who were in first class, and we had a food fight. I mean, we were so crazy.
But the sweat hogs weren't the only ones given to hijinks. Some of the Cotter writers were notorious for their risque behavior.
There were certain jokes that didn't make sense, and the cast just figured that they were done like at 3 in the morning, and the writers weren't particularly too coherent when they wrote the jokes.
Yeah, we'd go, this is a 4-gram joke.
All of us at one point or another would read a script and say something to the effect of, well, that sounds like a Coke joke because it isn't funny straight.
I never saw it, but we all knew it was happening.
By the 3rd season, all was not well in the classroom. Travolta's emergence as a major film star limited his appearances on Cotter to only a handful. In addition, Marcia Strassman had grown dissatisfied with her small role.
I was growing increasingly less happy with what I was doing on the show.
I wasn't sensitive enough to realize that she was unhappy.
The show was about the school teacher and the kids. The focus never went to her, really.
She would just do the joke at the beginning, the joke at the end, and she wouldn't have anything else to do.
In November of 1978, People magazine ran an article in which Marcia Strassman lashed out at Kaplan and the show.
Gabe came to me and he said, I read the People magazine interview. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, I think we need to talk.
What Marcia learned from Kaplan is that executive producer Jimmy Comack had been stirring up a controversy between them.
You know, Gabe wants you off the show. I go, what? Gabe wants you off the show. I'm the only reason why you're still on the show.
She was believing what he was telling her, and it made no sense, but he could be very convincing.
I was hearing, you know, it's because of Gabe. Gabe doesn't want any episodes in the home.
I wanted the show to be more focused, balanced between the school and the home life.
Jimmy Comack would go to him and go, Marcia hates you. Marcia hates you. As Gabe was saying to me, you know, I want more stories in the house. He is one of those people that can look you in the eye and tell you a lie.
And that's how he functioned. By creating that, it made him like the big daddy that people would come to. I'm on your side, somebody else isn't on your side.
Gabe and I are going, oh my God, I can't believe he's done this. And I'm going, how can I remedy this? What should I do? He said, I'm hosting The Tonight Show tomorrow night. You want to come on with me? Yes! And I went on and I said exactly what I said just now on national television on The Tonight Show.
By the 4th season, Cotter had slipped out of the top 30. Series star John Travolta would only make 4 appearances. The writing was on the wall.
Everybody that I had worked with in the first 3 years of the show was replaced by this whole new group of writers, and I don't feel they understood or really cared about the characters and the show like the people who had been there in the past.
It was really sad in a way. It was very sort of unceremonious, and it just sort of ended. One day, everybody just went home.
I remember the very last time we ever saw Marcia, on the very last day of the show, we were supposed to tape the front joke and the last joke. That was the last thing we were going to do that night. And she refused to do those, and she ran off to her car.
One of the hardest things I have ever done was when we did the last show, and we knew we hadn't been canceled yet, but we all knew it was the last show. And Jimmy Comack, he made this big deal about he was giving us a party. And I said, I can't go to a party that Jimmy Comack's giving.
And that was the last anybody saw her, so Gabe took a big stuffed doll and set it where she was sitting, and then did the opening and closing jokes to the doll.
Although Cotter had been canceled, it would enjoy a new life in syndication. The show's cult status guaranteed a substantial payday for the producers. That is, everyone but co-creator Alan Sachs.
I got screwed.
We didn't write the pilot, we developed the idea, but the guy who wrote the pilot, Peter Meyerson, he got a piece of it too, because that's what his agent negotiated, so I guess Alan didn't negotiate for that.
In Italian, there's a word staminka, which is the hole in a donut. That's what they gave me for creating the show.
In the mid-70s, NBC was in a programming slump. Desperate for ratings, they looked to their few successful comedies for inspiration. They found it in Different Strokes.
I was doing Different Strokes, and it was a big, 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 big hit. I had no idea that they were going to go like this to me and say, Chris Hilton would like to spin you off as soon as possible.
There's a place you gotta go for learning all you ought to know about the facts of life. The facts of life.
Mrs. Garrett would be the house mother at the prestigious Eastland School for Young Women. The Facts of Life debuted on August 24th, 1979. The ratings are less than spectacular, and the reviews even worse. The Washington Post called the show worthless and barren, even predicting that it would help finish off the already weak NBC network.
I guess the producers were kind enough not to just come and read them out loud to us and broadcast them, so that's the first I've heard of that one.
We didn't really know how bad it was, I guess.
The critics can be wrong. Thank God it didn't kill us.
The Facts of Life was in trouble. Having too many featured girls seemed to be the problem. The solution? The X.
Well, it was just a lack of focus. You couldn't somehow manage all their stories. It was too much of a gang of people.
Julie Pekarsky, Julie Haddock, and Lisa Whelchel were all considered the pretty girls. That was too many. Pekarsky and Haddock were fired.
There were other girls?
The next decision of who to keep involved the two youngest, Kim Fields and Molly Ringwald.
If I was a black girl, you know, black folks are always first to go.
You know, I liked Molly. I think that maybe there was a feeling that all of us conspired to let her go.
It was a sorry choice, but we picked Kim to stay.
With the redundant characters removed, the producers felt there was room for a troublemaker. Enter Nancy McKeon.
The main reason for Nancy was somebody to give it to Blair, to Lisa. I feel that that was the turning point in the show.
The cast changes proved to be just what The Facts of Life needed, turning it into a solid hit. But the fact that more people were watching the show also meant there were more eyes on the young cast. And what the audience saw turned the girls into the butt of many cruel jokes.
The fat thing, I think, got out of hand because I think there was too much pressure put on them. I think there was cruelty at the time.
I heard they were called the Fats of Life.
Kim Fields has now got an ample figure. What little Kim Fields, what is she doing with an ample figure? And Lisa was more than comfortably built. And Mindy, of course, was Mindy, but she was supposed to be stout. And Nancy herself was getting to be a, quote, big girl.
We had a meeting with an executive, and he was the executive. And he's like, well, are you doing all right? Because, you know, a lot of people eat because they're unhappy. Do you want to talk about it? I said, I ain't crazy. I'm hungry, and I eat.
There was food all over the place, so I was just chowing down, and this is fun, you know, unlimited food.
Okay, girls, you get 5, go to the trough, you know. It's like, oh, my God.
We delicately took away all the Oreo cookies and all of the sweets and stuff from the craft services table where the girls would snack. We put in carrot sticks and celery.
But it was too late at that point. By the time they took all the donuts away, they had already done their damage.
They'd take peanut butter and fill it up in a celery stalk.
I was in a Hollywood Christmas parade and was going down the street in the float, and somebody yelled out, "Blair, you're getting fat."
The second season, they brought a scale to the rehearsal hall. I know that I said something. I said it's just not okay to do that here. Do a dressing room, do it. Please do not bring it in the rehearsal hall, because that is not okay.
It was outrageous and kind of a joke because it wasn't going to do any good.
Everybody was in a panic because especially the Blair character, you know, they had hired me to be a certain character and I was outgrowing my role.
Lisa rebelled that way. I think Lisa probably had Snickers or something under the pillows and said, okay, I'm getting on the scale I'm going to put on.
They sent me to fat farms and personal trainers and fitness things and hypnotists, and well, they tried everything.
While the rest of the cast's weight was ballooning up, the one girl hired for her ample figure was doing just the opposite.
There is a season where you can tell one season from the next, like, Nat looks kind of good, you know? And I was told that, you know, it'd be helpful and it'd be beneficial for everyone else if you gained weight. And I said, you know, absolutely not.
They began putting baggy sweaters and things on her to maintain the chubby.
Mindy's weight loss only emphasized a more serious physical problem.
Nothing to do with anything professional. I decided to go have a breast reduction surgery. It wasn't, I'm so heavy, what can I do? Should I just lop off my breasts? I mean, it was, you know, it wasn't like, I'm so unhappy. It was, this is what did it for me. There was an episode where Natalie had to fall down on a table. And I literally had to like put my breasts on the table first and then fall down, okay?
And it's funny, one time when I first started developing in my chest area, one of the producers actually came into the dressing room and wanted to know, was there any way to tape Kim down? We were like, what? Are you kidding me? This is a show about girls growing up, and this happens when you grow up. Now you can't tape her down.
The normal facts of life were not allowed on the Facts of Life.
Coming up, tempers rise on the set of Facts of Life.
There are moments where you walked into the room and you didn't like who you were sitting across from.
I think she's a drama queen.
And Roseanne and her new boyfriend Tom Arnold cause havoc on the set.
I thought Goodman was gonna kill him.
I'm a TV star. She goes, I can have anything I want.
All in TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms continues.
Princess Pepe, she was kidnapped. It's my duty to bring her home.
He came to America as an Imperial Guard.
I want to teach you some stuff. Come on.
But he's going to go home a cowboy.
Do exactly as I do it.
Yeah! Yeah! Ow!
Okay, we got to work on that.
Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson, Shanghai Noon. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, May 26th.
Hey, I'm the guy who makes 7-Up. I also write the advertising. I just came up with a great new slogan. Make 7-Up yours. Make 7-Up yours. Thank you, I appreciate it. Make 7-Up yours, baby. People just love it. Make 7-Up yours! Hey, my man, make 7-Up yours. Make 7-Up yours. Same to you.
Same to me.
You see, it's catching on already. Hey, make 7-Up yours, man.
How you gonna stick them up yours?
Oh, we going global with this baby.
Ay caramba, Homer gets laser eye surgery.
I ate pee-pee.
The Simpsons, all new at 8/7 Central, Fox Sunday.
Mario Perillo with Domino's new Italian Originals Chicken Grill Pizza. Travel with me through chicken marinated in Italian spices. Meander through slice after slice of Tuscany with seasoned onions. Marvel at the colors of the peppers. Call now for Domino's new Italian Originals Chicken Grill Pizza. You'll have a wonderful time.
Call now and for just $13.99, get the new Italian Originals Chicken Grill plus a medium cheese pizza for the kids. That's a chicken grill plus a pizza for the kids for just $13.99.
I have a job title. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for my family, the CFO. And my company policy is to shop at Albertsons. You can't go wrong. With their bonus buys on top of their everyday low prices, the savings just really add up. All right, so I don't have a company, but, you know, the bottom line, that's still what really counts. It's just a better way to do business.
Albertsons. For great service and low prices, it's your store.
this will be messy.
Back away from the stove, ma'am.
Stubborn grease.
Here's the facts. Fantastic wipes out kitchen grease better than 409.
So it's one tough clean.
What's that?
It's nothing. Fantastic leaves no greasy residue.
This stuff is pretty good.
No, ma'am. It's fantastic.
Antibacterial fantastic. Tougher on grime.
What could be so powerful? So deadly.
Wait till I put on the big blade.
And so outrageous.
This is getting out of control.
To drive Malcolm's dad insane.
Hey, Uncle! Dunkle. You said Dunkle. Now you have to say Uncle in my butt.
Malcolm, all new at 8:30, 7:30 Central, Fox Sunday.
While most people's memories of Facts of Life are of a lighthearted sitcom, the show actually confronted several controversial issues.
May I help you? I'm looking for Blair Warner. You must be her cousin Geri.
Yes.
Geri Jewell, a comedian with cerebral palsy, became the first handicapped person to play a regular role in prime time. And while Geri was welcomed by the entire cast with open arms, she felt her presence was also an uncomfortable reminder for one of her fellow actors.
In terms of Charlotte and Geri getting along, there were colors to the relationship that included the fact that Charlotte herself, I think her son was autistic.
I was glad she was there.
I think that in a certain respect, I reminded Charlotte of her son. She would accept me, and then she wouldn't accept me, and then she would accept me, and then she wouldn't. It was like a come here, go away, come here, go away.
She was uncomfortable around me. Then I think it must be her problem.
There was no doubt, however, that Geri's presence on the Facts of Life caused difficulties for the creative staff.
The writers couldn't figure out what to do with this person.
They were afraid to have me on a weekly basis because they felt that every time I entered a room, it would be a cerebral palsy story.
Geri's appearances on the Facts of Life were severely reduced, and the offer made to her to remain on the show was virtually non-existent.
They offered me one episode. It was a calculated move that I would probably reject it. Instead of firing me, per se, I turned it down.
Every show has its share of disagreements, but when the cast includes 4 rapidly maturing young women, tensions can run a bit higher than normal.
4 teenage girls on a certain cycle, shall we say. I mean, I had some seriously catty moments.
Well, you know, I'm the consummate professional, so, you know, I did no wrong.
When Kim was about 16 or 17, we had a real blowout over script. It was not a personal thing. It was something that she just didn't want to do and something that I felt she had to do. And there was a real temper.
I can get pissed off like the next person, and then, you know, when she blows, yo, it's on.
You know, but there are moments where you walked into the room and you didn't like who you were sitting across from.
One week you're my best friend. And the next week you're not.
Just stop being so wishy-washy and tell me what you think. And so you stirred the pot. And I did that. I plead guilty.
I think she's a drama queen.
In 1986, Charlotte Rae decided to leave the show, feeling that the girls had outgrown their need for Mrs. Garrett's advice. Her replacement, Emmy and Academy Award-winning actress Cloris Leachman. The transition was not an easy one.
You've got 8 years of one thing that you're used to, and then this gust of this other energy comes in. And, you know, at the same time, you're a little territorial, like, you know, this our groove. You got to, you know, get used to this. We don't have to get used to you.
To make matters worse, the producers decided to add several new characters.
I do recall getting really pissed off, quite honestly, because they were adding these people. And it was like, do y'all remember when we started this in '79 that y'all cut some folks because there were too many people? You can't do LA Law in a half hour. That's why that show is an hour and we are a half-hour show.
There was, however, one cast addition that Kim Fields was completely behind.
Hey, I was happy to see George Clooney.
There is an allure to older men.
I was mad that they didn't let, Tootie and George hook up, but, they weren't doing the interracial thing, so, sister had to just wait on that.
By the 8th season, Facts of Life's ratings had hit a steady decline. In an effort to boost the show's popularity, the producers decided on a very controversial move.
They said Blair was going to lose her virginity this year.
It was one of those things that you knew had to happen, but not to a Facts of Life girl.
So I waited till the end of the meeting and then talked to them and said I couldn't do that.
It was diametrically opposed to everything that Lisa believed in.
They said it was just a normal part of growing up, but I didn't believe that, and I certainly didn't want to have that on my shoulders, that some girl that might have been contemplating it said, well, you know what, Blair did it, says it's okay, so it's okay. I mean, it was ridiculous. We all had these boyfriends, and we were all these cute, great girls, and no one's getting laid. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I volunteered. I totally upped Natalie for the job. I thought she would be perfect.
Last night, Snake and I slept together.
And I do feel that there's a way to talk about, even in the 80s, teenage sexuality without having someone turn into a slut.
In 1987, NBC was once again the #1 network. The Facts of Life was no longer needed, and on September 10, 1988, the show that helped keep the network afloat was unceremoniously canceled. Memories from the cast on the legacy of the Facts of Life are decidedly bittersweet.
Facts of Life may not have been a critical success or, have the critical acclaim that Cheers or Cosby or Roseanne. However, people forget, 9 years on television really is something. It always gets passed over, like it never existed.
In 1987, the female stars of television comedy were as beautiful as they were talented. But in 1988, that glamorous world got a new leading lady.
I remember when the show was in the first season and there was this big article in Esquire magazine talking about how the only reason that show was popular is because I was fat.
Roseanne Barr, wife, mother of 3, and a struggling stand-up comedian from Denver, got her first big break on The Tonight Show.
The first time I realized that this was going to be something she could do was after her first Tonight Show appearance in 1985. She killed. Carson loved her.
Roseanne's first appearance on The Tonight Show also landed her a veteran Hollywood manager.
She came out and she said, "Hi, I'm not a housewife. I'm a domestic artist." I said, "She is a star."
In just 3 years, Roseanne bulldozed her way from obscurity to primetime TV with a family comedy that had a unique approach. Honesty. That approach caused problems from the very beginning.
We had the actual script of what that initial pilot episode was going to be. And I remember Roseanne just going through it and getting kind of a very sick, concerned look on her face and just go, this isn't going to work. This isn't me.
The guy who was writing it, Matt Williams, obviously, nice, talented guy. He had been on the Cosby Show. And she didn't get along with him from the very beginning.
I mean, there was just a war between the two of them. And he told her things like, you can't act, you can't perform. And she couldn't, but she learned. And she learned how to take over and be the producer.
Be the biggest bitch you can possibly be. As loud and mean and crude and rude as you can possibly find it in your gut to be. Otherwise, they'll just eat you alive and get rid of you.
The first victory she got was the show was originally, I think Matt called it Life and Stuff. And she said, I want the show to be called Roseanne.
The fights between Williams and Barr grew larger, but over smaller issues. Their final battle was over a single line of dialogue.
They'd kind of run her off to her dressing room, and she had called me and said that they were going to sue her for breach of contract. She would not say the line as written. There was a line in the script that was totally out of character, and she flat refused. And I just told myself, let's just not blink. Whatever we do, don't blink. And she didn't blink. From that time on, the power was in her hands.
She made a lot of people uncomfortable. And, whether it was her, or whether it was their uncomfortableness or insecurities, or whether it was both, she got a lot of stuff that probably wouldn't have happened if it had been a male lead.
I had never met a woman in television who treated her producers like Roseanne did. I mean, she fought for absolutely everything from the moment I met her.
Williams was removed from the show. His replacement, Jay Daniels. Daniels had served as producer for the Bruce Willis-Sybil Shepherd slugfest Moonlighting.
I thought of it as being out of the frying pan into the fire, of course. But I was warned that she was, her way was abusive, that she had a temper.
The constant sort of complaint was, you don't hear my voice, I'm not hearing my voice.
She felt the writer's particular life experience wasn't hers, and that how could they write about this? Why don't they listen to her and try to understand where she's coming from?
There was a scene that wasn't really working, the timing wasn't right, the jokes weren't coming across right. So Roseanne said, okay guys, give me 5 minutes. She sat down with the script and she just reworked some jokes, made some changes, took some lines out, switched stuff around, put new jokes in and said, okay, let's do it. And we did it and it worked and I was blown away.
If anything, she had a vision of what the show should be.
In one word, you knew what the series was, and that was her crossing to the stairs and looking upstairs and going, breakfast! I'm sure all across America, people went, that's my house.
Coming up, Roseanne's husband finds out about her affair with Tom Arnold.
They said, do you want to hear the tapes? And I said, tapes of what? And they said, they love naked.
Life on the Roseanne set gets even uglier.
We were told to not make eye contact with Roseanne, ever.
And Roseanne and Tom go on a spending spree.
It was jets, 7 cars.
It was 42 cars.
4 houses.
All when TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms, returns.
Critics and audiences across America agree Love and Basketball is a slam dunk winner.
What are we playing for?
I score, you strip. Wonderful performances by Omar Epps and Sanaa Lathan.
I'll play you.
For what?
Your heart.
Love and Basketball, rated PG-13, now playing.
I think that everyone is looking for a purpose in life. First thing off, I want an education. I want to learn something new, something important. I want to take center stage, take charge. See the places that made history. Surround myself with interesting people. I want to be anything but average. I want to learn more about computers, start a career. The bottom line is, I just want to make a difference.
You have plans. Let the Air Force help you get them off the ground.
Challenges are a good thing.
This is my cousin Giorgio from Italy.
Buongiorno.
Word has it, he knows Italian food like nobody else. So I took him to the Olive Garden for an Italian feast. Right away, he wanted a tour of Italy. 3 of the foods Italians love most.
Buonissimo.
Lasagna classico, chicken parmigiana, and creamy fettuccine alfredo. Plus, all the salad and breadsticks you want, all for $9.95. That's Hospitaliano. You'll love how Italian our Italian is. She thinks you're handsome. The Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Hey man, check it out.
Hey, how'd you do that?
Do what?
Trick out the door.
The redesigned 3-door coupe from Saturn. It just might turn a few heads.
Buy one, get one half off. On anything?
Yeah, buy a pair of slides, get loafers half price. Buy sandals, get your kids sneakers half price.
It's the buy one, get one half off sale. Good on everything in the store.
I've never seen this side of you before.
Doesn't it feel good? Pay less.
The greatest players who've ever played this game.
It was a special time and a special team.
Do you realize how great those moments were?
They made the game what it is today.
What makes it fun is the cheering of the crowd.
It's some of the greatest memories anybody could have.
Fans are the greatest part of football. And this is your Hall of Fame.
He takes pleasure in killing innocent people.
I feel no remorse.
Now it's time to pay. For the first time on America's Most Wanted, you will follow a cold-blooded killer to his execution. His final words, his final moments. The Execution on America's Most Wanted at 9/8 Central, Fox Saturday. Fox Sunday. They don't know how. They don't know why.
Oh, crap.
But something's making a small town go completely insane.
I'm Special Agent Dana Scully with the FBI.
What's so special about you? The X-Files, an all-new episode at 9, 8 Central, Fox Sunday.
Roseanne was an instant hit, finishing its first year at #2 in the ratings. But the behind-the-scenes controversy continued in both her TV and real life.
She would have major problems with her children, running away, and serious things.
The whole bunch of us were under the care of several psychologists at that time, probably a team of maybe 40 people, I think.
And it would work its way into the day.
She was just so wildly up and down.
You just sort of say to yourself, well, we're not really working anymore, now we're surviving.
In her first year as a TV star, a comedian that she had worked with in her stand-up days reappeared in her life, Tom Arnold.
I sort of noticed him hanging around a lot, and the sense I got, quite honestly, was that, there was something going on that was wrong.
That was being documented by the tabloids, and they would call me at home and tell me that this affair was going on, and of course I denied it.
One report says the tabloids were getting their tips on where Tom and Roseanne would be from Tom himself.
Well, we have an unusual and peculiar relationship, and it is cruel and unusual.
She wanted someone who would agree with her.
They said, do you want to hear the tapes? And I said, tapes of what? And they said, they're lovemaking.
He was somebody from her past, from the stand-up days. She could write with him. He gave her tremendous comfort.
I finally just said, look, this is what's going on here. And she just said, basically, I want a divorce. We're done. I'm going to go with this individual, and bye. And I kind of just, at that point, laid down in fetal position for about 9 months.
Once Arnold had entered Roseanne's personal life, it wasn't long before he had worked his way into her professional life, signing on as one of Roseanne's writers.
Tom would walk around, he would, he was pumped up. I don't know on what, but he was pumped up. And he was just high energy, he was like hyper.
I mean, you just wanted to tranquilize him when you met him.
I had to park there because my place, you can't park there with all the construction.
As Tom became more and more a fixture of the show, the actor's work began to sort of suffer.
And meanwhile, John Goodman is an actor, and he's, focusing and trying to get ready for the show, and I just remember the image of him outside the soundstage with his, just like, pounding his fist against the wall.
He was the Rock. He really was.
Apparently, Arnold wasn't satisfied with only working behind the scenes.
He would do the warm-up every so often, and he's not a joke teller, so it was awful.
Roseanne knows he has to be fired, and I had to do it. You gotta do the things you gotta do, whether it means staying in the office till 4 in the morning or going up to some guy who's stooping the star and saying, you know what, you're not gonna be the warm-up guy. But then at the end of the season, when Tom had, I guess, cleaned up his act or whatever, she said to me, I'm gonna make Tom producer. And I said, well, why don't I just make him a cardiovascular surgeon?
Tom Arnold continued to consolidate his power over Roseanne. The axe fell on more writers, more producers, and even Roseanne's own sister.
Geraldine's out, her manager's out, her business people are out, her attorneys are out.
It was an exercise of power. She could do it, so she did it.
I don't think I can pick out any one particular moment that was the tensest, because there were a lot.
We would go into rehearsal, and she couldn't remember her lines. She would start going into it, using foul language, saying, this, that, and the other. Why do the writers write this? I can't remember this. Blaming everybody but herself.
She'd be venomous and all that stuff. And then I'd start getting venomous and her. We'd cussing each other. And
we were told to not make eye contact with Roseanne, ever, while we were on the set as a camera operator. And also that if she was walking towards you, to move out of her way.
One time, Roseanne had one of her power trips on stage and said something about firing the whole cast or firing, Darlene or someone. And Darlene, at the age of about, I remember Sarah was about 11 at this time, she just looked at Roseanne. She said, "You can't fire me." She goes, "You're not the producer." She goes, "You're just a star. You can't fire me."
When people left the show, it was, they crawled away.
Roseanne's incredible success also yielded incredible wealth, and she and Tom were not above flaunting it.
It wasn't just $1,500 a day on clothes, it was jets, 7 cars,
It was 42 cars.
4 houses.
She was renting a house for something like $50,000 a month.
They were completely out of control.
Coming up, a menage-a-trois marriage between Tom, Roseanne, and their assistant.
They absolutely do not get the joke, nor do they hardly ever get any of my jokes.
And the publicity stunt backfires.
I'll sing that song again if I feel like it.
I said, that's my Rosie pissing off the President of the United States, you know.
All when TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms, returns.
In 3000 AD, a mighty empire and a slave race will engage one last time.
Man is an endangered species.
On battlefield Earth.
Let it be said that we took this one chance and fought!
On May 12th, prepare for battle. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, May 12th at a theater near you.
Feminine itching, painful irritation. Now there's Vagisil cream with skin-soothing vitamins E, A, and D. Vagisil stops itching fast, and the relief lasts. Vagisil, a better understanding of better intimate care.
Fox Sunday. What do you call the fast food that's sweeping the universe?
Well, they're tasty, right? Let's call them Tasticles.
An all-new Futurama. Then it's the attack of the low-flow toilets.
We're flushing 6 times.
Mom, you needed 7.
A new King of the Hill. Turn it up at 7, 6 Central, Fox Sunday.
I'm a sculptor.
I teach golf.
I work in the fashion department.
I'm a writer. You're sensational.
I like it very much.
That's love. I like complicated women.
It smells great.
I feel sexy.
Absolutely.
I'm in love.
Want to marry me?
What a question.
I hate cameras. Well, until today.
Allure is irresistible.
Where's my allure?
Allure from Chanel at Macy's.
What if your car knew you, anticipated your needs, and then reacted to meet them? What if it could help protect you in an accident with sensors that know where your seat's positioned and the severity of the crash, so the front airbags can react to you? What if it went even further? It's time to stop wondering what if. Introducing the new 2000 Ford Taurus with the advanced personal safety system.
The Charbroiled Chicken Club. Don't bother me. I'm eating. Carl's Jr.
A massive virus infects computers around the world. Tonight at 10, how to spot the love bug and save your computer. Then a Southland family's devastating tragedy. What caused the mysterious deaths of 2 toddlers? Plus an amazing sight, the desperate race to rescue this rare bird. On Fox 11 News at 10.
50 geniuses compete in the most intense game show ever.
What is the atomic number of uranium?
And they're all under 12 years old. Battle of the Child Geniuses, 8, 7 Central, Fox Tuesday.
Some things are just meant to be.
Oh my God.
An all-new 90210.
Donna, will you marry me?
The second to last episode. Then, for 10 years, they've been a part of your life.
This is hard.
Now, share the tear-filled final moments in an all-new special. It all starts at 8, 7 Central, Fox Wednesday.
Roseanne and Tom Arnold's outrageous public behavior eventually made it to the set of the show.
And they would, regularly moon the audience and show them the tattoos on their butts. It's the high point of the evening sometimes.
In between filming scenes, they would have live audience members come up and do bizarre and funny and weird things.
She likes to challenge people and almost humiliate them, and then pay them for it.
And one of the things that they started to do was pull audience members out of the audience and give them money if they'd cut all their hair off. Don't ask me why.
Roseanne and Tom married and continued to push the envelope of their outrageous stunts. But in July of 1990, they pushed a little too far.
He said to me one day, hey, you know, Roseanne's going to sing the national anthem on a working woman's night at the ballpark.
Well, that'll be good for the kids, you know. My son loves baseball. It'll be fun for him to go to this stadium.
I said, I don't know what could go wrong, Tom, but I said, you know, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Come home that night and turn on the TV, and there's the President of the United States, George Bush, talking about what a travesty to the American people. And I go, what has she done?
She mocked baseball players and spit and pulled her pants down and caused such an uproar.
It was supposed to be a joke, and it was taken as such a diss to everyone.
My reaction is it was disgraceful.
I said, that's my Rosie, pissing off the President of the United States, you know.
Of course, the network was afraid the show was going to be canceled immediately.
She got letters and threats and horrible things said to her.
We're going to get Roseanne Barr to go to Iraq and sing the national anthem.
She's got a real eye for publicity and a real sense of how to keep her name sort of in the spotlight, and she certainly did that.
I am a working woman, and I'm an American, too, and I'll sing that song again if I feel like it, because it's my national anthem.
Even though Roseanne's disastrous singing of the national anthem had been Tom's idea, she still allowed him to run much of her life.
Tom controlled everything. You know, who sent her faxes, who talked to her on the phone. I think I was at the house one day when they were both coloring her hair. You would definitely call it a Svengali relationship.
It got to the point where Arnold even began to answer questions for Roseanne.
So how does it feel that you yourself are nominated, but your show is not?
Well, I wish the show would be nominated, you know, and
what's happening to you in the new season?
I don't know.
The show deserves to be nominated. I mean, the writers and the actors got nominated, but you know, it's one of those deals. You have no power, you know, no control over it, right, honey?
Yeah.
We're just glad to be here, right, honey?
Yes, we're just glad to be here.
To friends and family, Roseanne had become a completely different person, making outrageous revelations about her past, including her multiple personalities, and the shocking allegations about her parents' supposed molestation of her as a child.
The father said, I did not molest my daughter. I mean, he spanked her, he didn't molest her.
I know I'm telling the truth. And what my parents and siblings say no longer matters to me.
But they had no defense, they had no way to fight against it, and they blamed it all on Tom Arnold. They said that Tom Arnold had turned her against them.
When her show debuted in 1988, Roseanne changed the way TV leading ladies looked. In 1992, she changed the way she looked, undergoing a facelift, a nose job, breast reduction surgery, and a tummy tuck.
Oh my God, I'm not signing that ugly picture. That's before plastic surgery, I'm not signing.
In what appeared to be another outrageous publicity stunt, Roseanne and Tom jointly marry their assistant, Kim Silva, a young woman with whom Tom had been rumored to be having an affair.
There was that odd sort of menage a trois thing going on. Was it real or wasn't it real? Were there 3 people married in that relationship, or were there only 2?
They absolutely do not get the joke, nor do they hardly ever get any of my jokes. What we said was, because we don't allow her any time to have a personal life, because she has to take care of us 24 hours a day, that we felt the least we could do was to marry her so that she wouldn't have to worry about not being married.
Coming up, Roseanne and Tom Arnold's relationship spirals out of control.
Well, she said it was the violence that made it go bad.
And the last, but not the best episodes of Roseanne.
There are some reviews of the show saying, what's happened to Roseanne?
All when TV Guide, the truth behind the sitcoms, returns.
Internet porn. Maybe you've seen it and even clicked on it.
I'm on it 11 hours a week.
For some, it's harmless. For others, a full-scale addiction. Learn the warning signs. See where to get help. Tonight on Fox 11 News at 10.
What color are your teeth? Arm & Hammer Advanced White Toothpaste. It'll safely whiten your teeth with just one tube. Prove it to yourself with our exclusive whitening guide. You can go from here to here. Great tasting Arm & Hammer makes the difference. So what color are your teeth? Arm & Hammer Advanced White Toothpaste. Whiter teeth, one tube, guarantee. For another way to move the whitening guide, get Arm & Hammer gum in the toothpaste aisle. Whiter teeth, guaranteed. It's delicious.
Gentlemen,
It's our turn.
For 2 weeks in a row, U-571 is America's #1 movie. It's thrilling, gripping, a textbook example of an adventure movie done right. U-571, rated PG-13. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Buy one, get one half off. On anything?
Yeah, buy a pair of slides, get loafers half price. Buy sandals, get your kids sneakers half price.
It's the buy one, get one half off sale. Good on everything in the store.
I've never seen this side of you before.
Doesn't it feel good? Pay less.
You don't have a... Thanks, man.
Next Thursday, a television event where top psychics reach out to you live in front of an audience. Can they stop your clocks, see through your walls, send a psychic message through your TV? Powers of the Paranormal live on stage next Thursday on Fox.
With Roseanne and Tom's every step covered by the paparazzi, tempers grew short. One photographer claims that the couple paid a group of young thugs to beat him up. The battered photographer sued, resulting in a $20,000 settlement. To avoid the Hollywood glare, they decided to build their dream mansion far away in Tom's Iowa hometown.
They were living in a trailer next to a hole that was dug that was the size almost of the state, and this is where they were going to build their estate, you know, in Tom's hometown.
You know, it was never completed. It's like this huge ghost monument just sitting out there in the fields.
As the mansion was being built, Roseanne and Tom's marriage disintegrated.
As he wanted to climb his own ladder of success, he became a competitive effect. Then it became violent between the two of them.
I knew they'd have days when they were fighting and they'd go in the trailer and they'd be in there for a long time.
She had decided somewhere in her, I must get out of the center of the hurricane.
There was a basketball hoop right next to her trailer, so I was right next to it. So, like, I'd see every once in a while they'd come storming by, but that's married people, you know?
Well, she said it was the violence that made it go bad.
The makeup department on her show began noticing contusions and bruises on her body when they were changing her for clothes.
Divorce day was fun. When she had a party on the set after she had quite literally nailed Tom's office shut.
I think she was really heartsick when it ended.
It was like a luau with strippers, I think it might have been a roast pig.
They just were not emotionally adult enough to deal with each other.
After her divorce from Tom Arnold, Roseanne married their former bodyguard, Ben Thomas. Once again, she devoted herself full-time to her show, with some say disastrous results.
Hey, I got a really good idea for an episode. John should win the lottery and we should move to California. You know, and I said, yeah, that's called the Beverly Hillbillies.
When it started to get weird is when they left who they were and became, you know, lottery winners. And
I said it would undermine the whole purpose, the whole thing about the show that's magical.
There are some reviews of the show saying what's happened to Roseanne, the Roseanne show. It's become very bizarre and disjointed.
Her demise is her doing as her stardom was her doing.
The day the show ended, everybody kind of just drifted away.
Of course, I think about it every day. What would have happened if she hadn't gone on The Tonight Show? What would we be doing if I was still in Denver at the post office? Would we have divorced? Would our kids have had as much trouble?
I don't think she's a rock and roll star. I don't think she's a talk show host. I think she's done. So I personally think, you know, take your $100 zillion and have a good life, honey.